we hosted our Making Community Count virtual discussion. It was both informative and encouraging, driving home the importance of participating in the U.S. Census.
$625 billion in your federal tax dollars go back to our communities based exclusively on census data. This is money for schools, Medicare, roads, and bridges, and college grants. In fact, there are more than 100 programs that are funded solely based on the census. So for each person that is not counted, we miss $1,400 per person per year. Illinois has lost millions and millions and millions of dollars. And I believe either for 4 or 5 decades, we've also lost a seat in Congress. And we already think we're going to lose 1 seat without the census count. If people do not fill out the census, we could lose 2 seats, which is losing, 2 important voices on various committees. And a lot of us are on really strong committees, and we wouldn't want to lose that voice. Back in February, our census chair for the Congressional Black Caucus, Steve Horsford, had a group meeting with the national head of the census. Our main objective was to make sure that African Americans are counted in the census. We are undercounted, and we wanted to make sure that he knew this was very important to us and that we were going to be watching. We got $5 million more put in to the census to make sure that, actually was more than that, to make sure that the information was spread all over, that we got $5 billion more, in additional funding to make sure that we could advertise in different places and we could get the word out to undercounted communities. Bringing that forward every month, the CBC meets with Stacey Abrams because she's very active in making sure that everyone votes counts all over the country. And we also have had national town hall meetings around the census.
About a month ago, I was out on one of my once every 3-week trips beyond my mailbox and beyond my driveway, running errands. And I went to the grocery store. I had been everywhere. And so I looked, it was dark, and I said, I need to go home, okay? I don't get out but once every 3 weeks, and I'm just going crazy. But I wanted to go into this beauty store, and it was right next to the grocery store. And I said, I need to go home. So I got in my car, started to pull out of my parking space, and I said, this makes no sense. I'm not going to come back out for another 3 weeks. I need to just go now. But someone wanted my parking space, so I pulled out into the next aisle, parked my car, went inside. Lo and behold, I walked inside, and someone said, "Hey, Miss Census, how is the census going?" And I'm thinking, really? I said, if you have completed your questionnaire, it's going great. So the young lady working there said, "Why is she calling you Miss Census? I've never heard census before." And the person said, "Oh my God, please don't say that. Take that back. Take that back. You don't want her to hear you say that." And she said, "Well, I haven't. What is census?" And the person put their hands over their head. He said, "Oh my God, here we go." And so I told her, I said, the primary reason we take a census really is to determine how many seats each state gets in Congress. And I said, that's really important because the more seats we have in Congress, the bigger our voice. I said, do you know that if it wasn't for the census, we wouldn't even have any African Americans in Congress, any Hispanics in Congress, any Asians in Congress? And I said, but at the community level, for those of us on the ground, do you know there are some essential programs? And in those funding formulas, what really weighs heavily in them are the population statistics generated by the census. I said programs such as infrastructure. We don't want potholes to tear up our tires in our cars. I don't. She said, that's right. And I said, and guess what? Healthcare, Medicaid, Medicare, rural hospitals, community health centers, the Children's Health Insurance Plan. And I said, let me tell you about education. Those Title I funds that the schools heavily depend on, special education funding, bilingual education, and how about the free and reduced lunch program that all of the children can enjoy? And even though schools closed, the schools were able to still provide food. And I said, in social services, SNAP, WIC, even affordable housing, such as the Section 8 voucher program. I said, even Meals on Wheels for seniors. And she stopped me and she said 7 words. All of these programs are important to me.
In terms of some of the innovations, we just were really out the gate. Back in November of 2019, we joined the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus in their bus tour to really raise awareness of the census. So the ILBC was on the west side and south side of Chicago and promoting the census. We met over at MacArthur's on the west side. I had a press conference at that time. Of course, we had to indulge in the food at MacArthur's. Can't be there without indulging in the food.
I know, right?
Senator Lightford led the charge over there, and it was fantastic. And, we got off to a really good running start. When the NBA All-Star Game was in Chicago, we did a watch party at Collins High School because we realized that many of the people that we're trying to reach were not going to be able to go to the NBA All-Star Game or any of the festivities that were going to be going on in the city. So we hosted right there at Collins High School. We had a 20-foot screen, big screen TV, over 200 plus guests in attendance. Elected officials showed up for that as well. But we also had former Chicago Bulls players, current Bulls players, folks like Craig showed up. I mean, you name it. A lot of folks showed up. And it was a very, very powerful piece to see that going on. We also then implemented what we call the virtual truck experience. At every event you can possibly imagine, we've had this virtual truck providing PSAs from various elected officials, rappers, different trusted voices in the community, putting the message out there in the hood about the importance of being counted and participating in the census. So, when our elected officials have been out there giving out food, and I'm telling you, to look at the lines and lines of food, people waiting just to get food. It's mind-boggling to look at the real desperation that's in the faces of folks. So one of the things that we've been doing at the same time that we've been talking about the importance of the census is that we first of all got to drive home the message that people really do count, that you really do matter. And what we've been saying to folks is that, look, we need you to respond, but we need to let you know that we care about you, that we're here to serve you. So that when they're getting food and when they're getting PPEs, protective equipment, et cetera, we're trying to make sure that people understand that you do matter to us. You really do count to us. And we want to be responsive to your needs. We know that people are still in poverty. People are going through a lot of changes, and that's another whole story. I'm not going to get it all the way into that right now, but we know why the situations are the way they are right now. They did not happen by chance. But one thing I will say is that any people that have been dealing with trauma and terror for 400 plus years is going to leave this effect. So we got to lift our people up and make sure that they understand that we care about them. They do matter. And we're going to keep on demonstrating that in all the activities that we do.
I just want to speak a little bit about the outreach to the faith community, which we had, a number of us, pretty much everybody on this call, to my knowledge, had been working with the faith community to put together a plan. This is pre-COVID, right? And we were working with people to make sure that they had laptops and setups in their vestibules and places within their church, sanctuary, that once their service was over, people could do it. It'd be a one-stop shop. You just get out of service and you go and you fill out your form, but it didn't happen. COVID happened instead. And so, but that doesn't stop us from still partnering with the faith community to say, maybe everything that you're doing is online. Maybe everything you're doing is by Facebook or even Zoom, but the message still needs to be the same. We must have an accurate count. Again, if we're not counting in, we'll be counted out.
During this voting cycle, when our vote is our voice, we need to make sure that we are getting our stories out there, letting folks know why it is important to vote, why it is important to make your voice heard. Number one. Number two, making sure that we're giving hope and empowering our communities to understand that if they have the information, they can make informed choices. Making sure folks understand that if there are things that are being done to suppress any kind of anything that has to do with voting, make sure that they know who to call and how to make sure that they can get information to let the Election Commission know, as well as let others know if this is happening. So I would just say empowering our communities, making sure that they know they have a voice and their vote is their voice, and putting out a call to action to all communities to ensure that they come out to vote. And if they see any issues with their voting places or any other issues, they should let others know and make sure that they take action against it.
one of the best ways to get our vote out in our communities, because we do believe in it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to get a vote. So if we come out together and in groups, and that's what we're focused on, and our trusted messengers and helping each other. My message always is, if you're voting, take 10 people with you to vote, because you know, so you should take everybody else so that they know. And we have to break it down to our community, because they have to make sure that it's for them. Because if it's not something for them, and like Senator is saying, she speaks so well on this, and thank you for being on our town hall. We got so much play from that, because the following we have is people that want to know the right thing, and the true thing. They're looking for the truth, because there's been so many, what they believe are lies. So the election is so important, and they have been taught that their vote does not count. Well, they're learning that it does count in all of the things that the young people are doing. And we are watching. Everybody needs to watch. It can't be just the people that are at the polls that are counting. We have to all watch and make sure that our vote is counted. And that is the most important thing.